Last time in our Let's Play of Mask of the Betrayer, we finally met up with the Founder, who is Akachi's love, and the reason he turned from his faith was not really so much that he was unhappy with the wall, it's because he wanted to save his girlfriend, more or less. And now she's using us to get things done. Now, we can be confrontational here, we can just sort of ask questions, and since we're being good, and I don't want to really annoy Safiya, I'm just gonna sort of throw the pointed barb of why she didn't just ask for help.
Did I place you in the barrow? Yes. Allow you to be joined with the monster that my beloved has become? Yes. Did I tear the shard of Gith from your chest? Not with pride, but yes. I have deceived you, relied upon your own self-interest to end my lover's curse, done evil for his sake, yes!
Then you deceived me as well. You never told me the truth. You merely said
that the stranger's life was worth more to me than all the lives on all the planes, that you should treat this stranger as if...
As if she was as dear to me as you. As if I loved her.
Safiya, I never lied to you. You didn't understand my words then, but they were true nonetheless. And you, stranger, who have suffered so much for a love you never knew, yes, you must think me a monster. But what do good or evil matter in the face of love? Love will break an oath, shatter a man's faith, and outlive God's. Love endures when your greatest hope is merely to end the suffering of your beloved, even if he can never again be yours.
A noble sentiment. I don't know how accurate it is, but it makes for a good plot for a game. Anyway, we can point out with wisdom that Liana and Nephris were also pieces of the Founder.
Fragments, yes. If one of us was slain, the others would carry on, and Akachi would not be abandoned. And each of them had talents of her own, a mind, a soul, can be teased apart, its elements distilled. Every person has talents, weaknesses, obsessions, all but the strongest are drowned out in the clamor of the mind. Sever one aspect from the rest, and suddenly it is stronger, more focused than it was as part of the whole.
Then, the voices I hear
were our voices, yes, our thoughts. We were linked together, Safiya, our minds never truly separate. Nephris wanted you to know. She thought it practical to tell you, but I forbade it. If you shared in our secret, you'd have shared in our blame.
And we can ask about the various parts.
She was all that imagines and questions, withholds judgment and sees all things anew.
This is
What
Liana.
better fragment to be my eyes in a foreign land than one that could love the land and its people as an old Thayan never could?
And Nephris.
Nephris. The one I knew as mother, who was really just a fragment of you.
She is not gone, Safiya. Her fragment has returned to the whole, to me. She loved you dearly, as I do. Can you guess what part she was, daughter?
Your resolve. The unyielding scholar, the dutiful mother. A woman that men wouldn't love, but that a daughter could admire.
Not without sweetness to temper her, and that sweetness I gave to another.
And we can ask about the voices.
We understood the connection, Liana, Nephris, and myself. We could hear each other's thoughts when we chose to listen. And yes, we could speak to one another through our minds, but the bond became weaker with time as each of us grew slowly apart, became her own woman. Liana was the most difficult of all, living in a foreign land, adopting their language and customs. That is why we created the portals, so that Nephris could visit her, to ensure that she did not stray. We all watched over you, Safiya, and made our voices heard when you needed us. You were most precious of all.
I always heard you. Low voices, a crowd of people in another room. But when I'd search for you...
You could never find us, and you learned to ignore our voices over time. Just as we hoped, my sweet daughter. By your ignorance, we kept you safe. Even Ahriman never guessed what you really were.
And that's all there is to say about that. We get some XP for figuring out the voices thing.
Of questions? or of judgments.
Anyway, we can be nice to her. I mean, you can essentially attack her at this point. If you have the Devour Soul feat and you devour her soul, she can be used to make a rather interesting ring, but we're going to say she acted out of love and not malice, so the evil is Merkel's. And, you know, we're just going to sort of avoid the fact that, you know, she's manipulative and evil, but hey, you know.
Akachi's fate is Merkel's doing, but your fate is mine. Here is the sword of Gith, its pieces gathered together, the blade reforged as one. It will see you safely through the Betrayer's Gate, to the realm of the dead. I can do nothing more for you, for him. If I've earned your vengeance, then take it.
Okay. And, we can be nice again here, or we can, you know, kill her. There's not really much benefit. I don't have Devour Souls, so there's not much point in killing her.
She manipulated you, used you, and yet you... I didn't think anyone could forgive such an act. The Founder was right to trust in you, as was I. I promise you will be freed of this curse. Even if the gods themselves try to stop us, I will be by your side. You have my word.
Go then, and carry my hopes with you. Love is stronger than any justice meted out by a mad god. Let that be Merkel's legacy to the plains, that in the end his cruelty broke before a mortal's resolve.
Anyway, that plus 35 to influence you get there with Safiya is the highest of any bonus in the game that I'm aware of. I don't need it, she's already been at 100 for a while now, but we do get the Silver Sword of Gith. It's not a trivial item, let's just put it that way. And there's a reason I've been gathering some of these more unusual items, like these spell scrolls of spells I'm not going to cast, and I'll get to that in a second. The Silver Sword of Gith has essentially a 20% chance of any time it hits to do something special, just as an additional effect. It also is a +8 weapon, it gives +40 hit points. Some of these other attributes I think are random, or are based on what classes you are. That gives +8 charisma for me, so actually this Nymph Cloak's +8 is now completely useless. I have another charisma bonus. The most important thing for me is that the Silver Sword of Gith casts spells. It has these spell-like abilities. Chilling Wrath is essentially a triple casting of, I think it's called Polar Ray. Infinite Resonance, I'll just demonstrate. Does fairly high damage to everything around you, which is nice. It also has sword forms, which give you various bonuses. Defensive Edge, for example, gives +10 deflection bonus to AC. I only get 6 because I already have 4 from Fairness Redemption. That's not bad. Anti-Magic Edge makes you cast Dispel on hit. Penetrating Edge makes you... essentially it's like the key strike ability of the Weapon Master. All of your hits, the D8 is always 8, which is, you know, not great, but not that important, really. There are a couple other spell effects here. Unity of Will casts a bunch of minor spells. Cast Mind Blank on everybody, which I don't care about. I have the headband that gives me immunity to mind spells. Unbroken Circle casts Premonition and Spell Mantle on you, which, I mean, if you're a fighter, is great. Perfect Rejuvenation casts Greater Restoration and Regeneration, so it heals you and continues to keep your hit points up. But, you know, a fairly nice item as they go. Now, you see these charges here? The sword forms are recharged by just hitting enemies. The spell-like abilities you recharge by casting spells at the item. So, for example, I'm going to use Bestow Curse on the Silver Sword of Gith. Didn't do anything that time. You can use several lower level spells to put charges, so now we're back up to 3 spell-like abilities. So if I use Unbroken Circle, and I'm back down to 2. But if I use the Avasculate off of Parry Out of the Lost Witch, that automatically brings it back up to 3 charges of the spell-like abilities. And since the spell-like abilities are better than any spell you can normally cast, all of these scrolls here, like Nature's Avatar, I can use to recharge the Sword of Gith and get another effect. This is particularly useful with mixed with Ethereal Drawn, because I can essentially fire off 3 charges of Silver Sword of Gith, go Ethereal, recharge it, come back in, and have it ready again. But it's a very nice item. The only character that might not use it is a pure melee fighter, because the enchantments on it, as far as just dealing pure damage, are not that good. It's mostly a defensive and activated weapon, so it's great for a mage, but for a fighter, you know, being able to cast this stuff is good, but having to cast spells to recharge it and stuff won't work out that well. Now, with Parry Out of the Lost Witch's Bestow Curse, or what did I do with that wand? Huh. Anyway, with that the wand I have, which casts yeah, maybe I used it up. Which casts the spell. Oh, here it is, Wand of Eternal Decay, which casts, you know, all this junk once a day, or unlimited uses on inflict moderate wounds. I can use that to recharge the Silver Sword of Gith, and I essentially have infinite charges of these spell-like abilities, which is really quite potent. I can't quicken spell them, obviously, which is annoying, but, you know, you get what you can take. So, that's the best item in the game. But that's it for this video.